So without further ado, I'd like to hand over to Adi. Adi, thank you for taking your time to come and spend with us and the Kempton MBA group this morning.
Thank you, Lawrence. Hello everybody, welcome to South Africa. The weather's been hot and cold and hot and cold. And it was hot and now it's cold again, so hopefully it stays hot because we are going into spring and summer. So there's a lot to say. The business we have fits into a realm called the mega gig economy. I think if we used meta gig, we probably would have got sued by Facebook, so we went with mega gig. When it comes to the subject of marketing, in my opinion, you can either spend a lot of money and get other people to do it for you, and wouldn't we all like to do that? Wouldn't it be so nice to be sitting at a boardroom and say, give me your ideas, tell me what we should be doing, I'd like to spend some budget. I don't know that world, unfortunately, although I'm sure it works. In my opinion, marketing is more about the core, the essence of the idea of the people working in the business, and how do they get that message to the world, to potential clients. Are the clients going to buy into that message? Who's in the business? Can the business survive? If you get a whole bunch of things right, your business should be able to participate in the market. Because that's what marketing is, I think, participating. There's branding, there's staying alive. If you can survive for long enough, you're in the market. In my opinion, that's marketing. So marketing really is about, are you participating with the market? How do you tell the market about your business, about your product? And kind of like painting that vision for them and then living it. You know, the reason you have to live it is because if you don't have big marketing spend and budget, you know, then you can't just sort of put smoke and mirrors up and do whatever you want and waste money and you just do another marketing campaign. You have to actually live it. So if it's about survival of the business, if you don't live it, you won't be in the market. So what we're going to go on a little journey today is about how do you build a business from scratch in a way? How do you tell the market about it? And then also like the fun stuff of organic marketing and LinkedIn and Instagram and all that kind of stuff, which is a complicated topic. You know, some people might go into sales funnels and that kind of stuff. Mine is more organic, you know, sort of people to people, built over time. And if you do that correctly, they should want to do business with you, because then you're in the market. So let's go into it. Okay. So what have we got here? A slide I did yesterday of where are some of the clients that we are actively doing work for. And it's not a bad market position to be in, a global market position to be in. I believe this could be described as the goal for any startup, to kind of have a global presence. So I've called it global expansion, unleashed, scaling your business beyond borders. Look, I must admit, like I used ChatGPT, which wasn't available a year ago. I said, this is what I'm going to be talking about. Give me a powerhouse title, and this is what it came up with. But you know what? Everyone's cheating, so why can't I? Okay. Okay, although when I wrote my book, there wasn't a ChatGPT. I would have had to come up with the stuff myself. Okay. So, this is the business that we have. It's called Virtual Actuary. I am not an actuary. I work with about 65 actuaries and software engineers, and we run an actuary consulting firm which services the insurance and banking sectors. Our clients are insurers and reinsurers and banks. And as far as what actuaries do and what the company does, it is everything, the inner workings of an insurer or a bank. So in insurance, it's developing products, designing those products, communicating those products in the documentation to the brokers and to the business. It is the modeling and the pricing of the products and trying to work out the risk. If you're going to be selling products, how should you be pricing them? And then once they've sold the product, it's all the interaction with the regulators. Because in fact, that is actually the biggest job of any insurer or bank really, is to stay solvent. And that's really what the regulators are there for, is to say, give us a calculation of your book, of your business. We want a valuation because you need to have capital reserves constantly because the book is changing, so that if a big event happens, you can't just say to the clients, we don't have any money, sorry. So the regulator's always there to make sure that they're valuing the book, that there's enough reserves and capital. So that's actually quite a big part of what the actuaries do. Okay. From a software perspective as well, these days, and probably for the last 20 years, insurers and banks run quite a bit on software. And you'll hear hot topics like insure. Hopefully it records, I don't know, it's got a mind of its own. So we also do have quite a big software arm, and we want to be able to get that software into the insurers and the banks, because ultimately you don't really only want to be a consulting business where you're constantly having to shovel coal. You know, oh, that project is over, we need to shovel more coal into the fire. So you actually want to be an insurtech and software business these days, because then the clients are interacting with you more. So we have quite a big software arm. And this is our new website. That's why I put it on. We had an older website. This is like the look and feel. Actuarial services, data analytics and engineering, and software development. Okay, so and so the way that we started the business in 2017, and then we picked up our first client in 2018, was the theory was virtual actuaries. So actuaries working from home. Okay. Now, if you want to interact with global clients, that's a great marketing, branding position to be in, because you can say, well, our actuaries work from home. So this, in my opinion, is sort of going to be the future of work, and it kind of is, although it went back to the norm, but I think it's going to go back to this, people working from home in these sort of like pods and sort of like little rooms in their gardens and stuff. It's not your big fancy office with glass patios and all that kind of stuff. I just don't think that that's the future. So we always marketed the business like this. So we have actuaries working from home. And so when we started the business, we didn't have any money. As I said, you get people that have lots of money and private equity and venture capital, and they can go and they can have big offices, and then they can do marketing and build product, and I don't know that world. But what I think about that world is that a lot of those startups don't survive. And the reason they don't survive is because the people that give you the money want you to succeed quickly. The business we've built and the marketing I'm going to talk about, and the branding and the company positioning and the way that we're going to structure the business has a 15 to 20 year mindset. That's the timeline. Okay? We're going to build the business and we're going to position the business globally, that our success yardstick is 5, 10, and 15 years. You know, that's how we're going to position the business. So the business operates as a lean business with a lean mindset. That was always the intention, is how can we operate this business with no money and not commit to big fixed expenses? Okay, so we operate with a lean mindset. Now, a lean mindset does not mean that you're cheap. It just means that in everything that you do, you have to really think about, do we have to spend this money? It's either going on my food and rent, or it's going on office space and a boardroom. Which is more important? So it's really about ongoing priorities. Okay. The company also operates within what we call the fourth industrial revolution. So these are the topics I'm going to talk about. We're going to zip through the slides and then we're going to come back to some of them. I'm just giving you an overview of the business and how we've positioned it, and then we're going to go a little bit more into the whole thing. Okay, so we operate in the fourth industrial revolution. Okay, it was a big topic a few years ago, and what we have here is a castle with a moat. And back in the day before the fourth industrial revolution, the big companies had the moat. They were the only ones that were able to operate with other big companies, because they all had big office space and they all had telecommunications leading into their offices, and the little man and the woman on the street could not compete at the same level or better, because there was a moat. We didn't have the technology, we didn't have the money. Now anybody can compete. The moat is gone in the fourth industrial revolution. We've also positioned the company as an industry disruptor. Okay. And this guy, potentially you're young, old, I'm not sure. This is the Lone Ranger. And we're going to talk a little bit about the mindset of a disruptor, or the business mindset of a disrupting business. Okay, and what is disruption? Okay, and then we're going to talk about a disruptor whose branding and marketing is newsworthy. And I think that is probably one of the biggest topics that we're going to talk about today. Is the business's story newsworthy? Why is that so important? It's so important because if you don't have any money to spend on marketing, if your story is newsworthy at least, then the magazines and the radio stations and the podcasts and the TV stations and anybody that you interact with wants to tell your story, wants to invite you to the podcast, wants to invite you to talk, because you're actually newsworthy. For the people that is their listenership or their readership, they demand newsworthy stories. So if you can position yourself as a newsworthy business, you will then be invited to tell your story on these different platforms, and it will be well accepted and it won't cost you anything. But you have to be newsworthy. We've also positioned the company itself online as a global service provider. This is in the stories that we tell and in the way that we describe our business. We always wanted to be a global service provider. And so anytime anybody on LinkedIn or in any of the news stories hears about what our intentions are, what we're aiming to achieve, we've always said we're a global service provider, we're digital, we want to interact with you. It's all part of that whole newsworthy thing. Okay? And the company has established global partnerships. Okay. It's very, very important, because if you're going to market the business internationally, if you're going to trade internationally, you have to have some partners. but you have to choose the right partners. You have to make sure that those partners are reliable, that they're not going to cheat you. And initially, I thought we needed office space and bank accounts and businesses in different countries, although not office space, but businesses and bank accounts. But then I learned in time that in fact you can do exactly the same through a partner, because then they can contract with the client, you can contract with them. It makes the whole thing a lot easier, especially if there's language barriers. Okay. So, getting started with no money. Forming a shared revenue consortium. Okay. So what is a consortium? You know, if it's pretty much a group of companies or a group of people that work together in a very organized way, where the client at the end needs a product delivered or built. Let's look at a huge highway. Okay, you won't find one company that has all the equipment and one company that does the paving and the tar and one company that has the workers, and it's generally a consortium of companies that take on the project. But they're not all hired by one company. Generally they all work together, and when the client at the end pays, then they split the money. So that's really the thinking of a consortium. Okay. Now, how do you bring people into the business without having money to pay salaries? Okay. So, right at the beginning, I had a recruitment business. So I've always been in sales and marketing, actually. More so sales, but they seem to put it together, sales and marketing. And I've done door-to-door sales. I've done tele-sales. I've done corporate sales. I sold carpet cleaning door-to-door. I sold cleaning chemicals. I sold advertising magazines. It was always door-to-door sales. It was always sales. And then I think in like 2006, I was introduced to recruitment. And that's a great product, people. And so I started selling people. And really just like moving people around, because that, it's a great product actually. So when I started in recruitment, and then a year later I opened my own recruitment business, and LinkedIn really destroyed recruitment for recruiters. So from about 2009, I had my own business in recruitment until about 2015. And by 2015, I wasn't making any money in recruitment. And it's quite a tough pill to swallow. And I had this huge database of actuaries, and it took me 2 years to try and work out what to do after recruitment. And it's a very difficult thing to come up with, is what do you do with quite a big network of actuaries, and after 2 years, different ideas, and I was going to do car branding for actuaries and credit card for actuaries and monthly gift packs for actuaries, and really thinking and talking to my wife and dissecting the ideas. And eventually the idea for virtual actuary came in. Okay, so the question is how to bring people into the business without having money to pay salaries. Because if you don't have any money for salaries, how do you convince people? So what I noticed in recruitment was that independent actuaries that work alone cannot scale themselves. They can only do the work for the hours that they have available. And they also cannot take on huge projects because they're alone. So I thought if I could bring together 10 or 15 independent actuaries under the brand of virtual actuary, and we come up with this consortium story, would they buy into the fact that if I got work and projects, would they accept that I will only pay you when the client pays me? let's form a consortium. I can't pay you a salary, but I'll try and get you work, and when the client pays, I'll pay you then. What do you say? It's not a bad deal. I'm not exclusive. You can still go find work. You're hustling for work anyway. So we formed this consortium, and they went for it. But why did they go for it? Because it sounded professional. I had a nice idea. We'll get global clients. We'll all work together. We'll split the money. You'll take most of the money. Are you willing to form a consortium with me? Or in the early days, what I called an organized collaborative. So this is, when it comes to marketing and branding, the truth is the first people you need to market to are the people in the business, or the people who want to join the business. You've got to have a great story. The story has to make sense if people are going to buy into it. Marketing is not only about putting an advert out there, it's about creating the vision for the business and getting other people to buy into that vision so they can go on a journey with you. And so there's different levels of marketing. This is the kind of level of right at the beginning, before anybody knows anything about your business, how do you get them to join your business? Okay, so this is where the marketing journey started, was creating a business idea where people would buy into the business idea. Okay, so we created a shared revenue consortium with like-minded colleagues. So what I said to the actuaries was, we'll split the money. Whoever does the work on the project, the company will take a very small amount of money, we'll split the money. We created a shared revenue model, which is quite new if you think about it, okay? Compared to big consulting firms where everybody's on a salary, or opening a small business where it's kind of like everybody's on a salary, it's just a much smaller business. A shared revenue model is quite a new idea. And this is the idea that I started to market to the actuaries. Okay? The problem initially of why they would want to join is independent professionals can't scale, independent professionals can't take on large projects, and finding ongoing work is challenging. So this is where the marketing journey started, is starting to talk to a whole bunch of actuaries about a shared revenue model. Okay. So if you are going to start a business, the truth is you don't actually need much, especially if you're going to be a lean business and you're going to be a digital business. You don't really need much. Now, the default for most people is we need office space and we need salaries and we need to hire some people. The truth is the bare essentials of what you actually need to start a business is a website. Okay, and these days you can even get templates, okay, on Theme Forest, okay. Then you need contracts with the company and the working professionals. Because if you're going to now start to tell people that, you want them to join the business, they say, well, do you have any paperwork I can look over? Do you have any contracts? You have to have like professional contracts. So you need templates of, it's very organized. It's not a bunch of school children getting together and forming a business. It's a proper business. Here's the contract. It says that, you have to be responsible. And if the business makes money, we'll take 18 or 10% or whatever the contract says, and these are your responsibilities, and this is how long it's going to take for me to pay you once the client pays me. You have to be very clear about that, but you do have to have contracts, okay? Not so much because you're going to be suing people and people are going to be suing you, because that actually is not going to happen. That's not what contracts are for, but rather just so that there's guidelines, but very importantly so that when people start to interact with you, you look professional. Because nobody is going to buy into your marketing story if at the first starting point they buy into this, I want to join you, send me some paperwork, if you don't have that paperwork available for them. Then you need a company logo. Most people think that this is what it means to start a startup or a company, is branding, marketing, logo. Oh, it's going to sell itself. And they spend like weeks and weeks coming up with this amazing logo. The truth is that I've seen some phenomenal businesses with terrible logos. You just need a logo that's not going to embarrass you. Okay? And it will change. You might change the color, and so people make too much of the logo, but you do need one. Okay, why do you need one? Because you need emails. So that once you start interacting with people, it's like, okay, well, send me an email. Okay, what's this all about? Okay, you haven't approached clients yet, but you first need to bring the people together. You need the email address, you need the .com or the what's the German one? .de. DE. You need to try and find the .de. Okay. Then you need terms of business with clients. So what that is contracts, so that if a client decides to buy from you, you can send them a contract. Okay, you have to have all of this stuff before. Okay, the last thing you want is an interested client. I say, well, send me your terms of business, send me your master services agreement. Okay, then you need a bank account. Once the registration documents have gone through, in most countries you have a registrar of companies, so you definitely need to have registration papers, and you need a bank account. I don't think the bank will allow you to open a bank account for a business unless you have the registration documents. You need enough money to survive. Okay. Then you need the vision for what the company is aiming to achieve. Okay? Because let's not forget, if you're starting to talk about the business, you have to have created the vision. Now, as I say, when you're starting right at the beginning, you're not going to an advertising company to say, well, tell us what our vision is. Okay, so you have to actually come up with the vision yourself. Well, as I say, with ChatGPT these days, you can cheat the whole system. Okay, I want to open a dog parlor where we serve coffee and we do women's nails while they wait for the dog, to have its hair cut. Tell us what our vision is and what our marketing tagline should be. It's going to give me 10 suggestions. It's going to come up with something amazing. So just because ChatGPT will do it for you doesn't mean that you don't need one anyway. You might not have to come up with it yourself though. Okay. Then when I started my business, I don't know anything about quick marketing. I don't know anything about going viral. I don't know anything about boom, it exploded, went viral, amazing, we should all aim for that. Look at that guy, Facebook guy and Elon and Jeff Bezos. We need to start thinking about how these guys did it. I want to come up with that brilliant idea. I want to be the Elon, I want to be the Facebook guy. It's like a 0.01% of people that succeed with that unbelievable fluke idea. That's not like marketing actually. That's just God sent. A fluke. Real marketing and how I started with my business was 400 phone calls. I know that's not what you don't want to, it's not what you want to hear.
A day?
No, over the space of 3 months. You aim for like 5 a day, 10 a day if you can. Okay, so my marketing was 400 phone calls. Because what is marketing? It's telling, in my opinion, it's telling people about your business. It's telling people about what is the vision, why are you going to be able to service them, what makes you different. Sending emails, I try not to send emails to people I don't know. They don't open those emails. The sort of email campaigns and spray and pray. It's a waste of time. Okay, what you really want is to get on the phone. In my opinion, that's what marketing. You're marketing the business one person at a time, one conversation at a conference at a time. You're nurturing those relationships. Okay. So we did. Okay. Now this is where it's going to get a little bit fun and new age. I'm not all that old school. Okay. So this is where it gets a little bit fun. So what we did was, let's not forget I had the recruitment business. I had built up the database. Also, one phone call at a time. I phoned 4,500 actuaries, one at a time, at the office. There's lists from conferences of where they work, and you phone the reception, you phone the person, you say, hello, I'm introducing myself, I work in recruitment, I just want to get to know you a little bit. What do? You skill set them, you get their mobile number and their private email address. That was 4,500 phone calls over 10 years. So initially the 400 phone calls was to the senior directors that hire actuaries. We have an actuary consulting business now. I'm not doing recruitment. If you need actuaries that can consult in teams, that was the 400 phone calls. But I did have the database, and so what I did is I turned that. So my idea was always whether I'm doing the tailoring service for actuaries, which I was going to do, alterations, and it was going to be called My Actuary Tailor. You're a professional, you need your pants or your skirt done, you went shopping, your shirt, you don't have a tailor, you don't have time to go to a tailor, we'll come to you. Whatever it was, whatever business we were going to do, I always knew that what I would do is I would take the database, put it into columns, and I would save it as a .csv file, a contact file. And then I would go to Gmail and I would open a brand new Gmail address. In my case now it was virtualactuary@gmail.com. That's not the email that we used for, it's whatever it is at virtualactuary.com, but open a Gmail address, and then Gmail says, okay, cool, nice address, thanks so much. Do you have any contact that you want to sync with your address? Yeah, I actually do. Thanks for asking. 4,500 names. As a .csv file, please upload all the names. Thank you. So now Google associates virtualactuary@gmail.com to these 4,500 contacts that are clearly your contacts. Okay, and then you buy an Android phone. I don't know much about Apple. I used it many years ago, but you buy an Android phone. It says, you need to log in for the App Store. Can you sync it with the Gmail address? Yes, thank you. This is virtualactuary@gmail.com. Thank you very much. Cool. And then it says, okay, cool, contact synced. Oh, great, thanks so much. Now, my entire database is on my new phone. Cool. I had, when I came up with the name for Virtual Actuary in 2017, I immediately bought the .com. It was available. Godsend. I then reserved the Instagram at virtualactuary.com, Twitter at virtualactuary.com, Virtual Actuary, Pinterest, whatever. Virtual Actuary had not existed. And then when I downloaded the app, Twitter, Instagram, it says, oh, thank you very much, Mr. Virtual Actuary. Would you like to sync with your contacts? Yes, I would. Oh, we found all your contacts. Would you like to follow them? Would you like to send them connection requests? That right there was the greatest achievement from a marketing perspective, instant. Because imagine trying to find Joe Blog on Instagram. There's hundreds, How are you going to find them? But why would you want to do that? Because at the push of a button, Virtual Actuary started following every single actuary in the country. And whenever they went shopping or on a holiday with their children, this is right at the beginning when I started marketing their business, Virtual Actuary likes your photo. Oh. Hey guys, just did the Iron Man again. Oh, Virtual Actuary likes this. Oh. And within the first 3 months of marketing the business and liking everybody's posts non-stop, the entire market knew about Virtual Actuary. Why? Because we were liking all their photos on Instagram. Easy, free. And I said, well, who's Virtual Actuary? Okay, cool. Now that little hack right there, unbelievable. Now in the early years as well of WhatsApp, this was 2017, 2018, especially 2018, when our newsworthy story started getting into the Financial Mail and Fin Week, even GQ magazine, believe it or not. I'll show you the photo later. Into the GQ. Yeah, I promise you. I got into GQ, Men's Health, and all the newspapers telling our story, digital actuaries. In the early years of WhatsApp, you could just spam everybody. Yeah. So these are my contacts. So you could say, okay, well, would you like to send to all? You know, before they did like broadcast messages where you could spam. Yeah. Damn right I would. Okay, so here's the article, we took the picture, virtual actuary in Financial Mail, they called us the Uber of actuaries, there's the article, would you like to send to all contacts? Yes, I would. And then it was like, ding, ding, wow, amazing, well done, cool, wow, so awesome. Until people started catching on, like, okay, people are sending me stuff unsolicited, but I do know him, he's a contact on my phone, I've known him for 10 years. And so that's actually in the early days how I marketed the business on WhatsApp, for free. Okay? Eventually they started doing broadcast lists. But one night at about 8 o'clock, I sent out an article. I started not seeing the little blue ticks. They started coming out very slowly, and I started realizing I jammed up my WhatsApp. And by 10:30 at night, they were still coming out slowly, and there were still thousands to go. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. Here's an actuary at 1 o'clock in the morning, they're getting it at ding. Who is sending me messages at 1 o'clock in the morning? Okay, because the messages were delayed. At that point, I wanted to basically jump off a cliff, delete my app, and bury my head in the sand. I believe I stopped the app, cleared the cache, uninstalled the app, switched off my phone, and hoped that more green ticks would not go through. Okay? So it doesn't, you've got to be willing to pull the trigger, okay, in marketing. Okay, we're going to put our name out there. This is what we're going to do. Sometimes you don't get it right. And, you have to be willing to pull the trigger, like, own up. Did you do this? Yes, I market. Was that your position? Did you say this is what the business stands for? Yes, I did. Being able to pull that trigger is, you've got to be brave, okay, in my opinion. Okay, and then also on Facebook you can do targeted lists as well with the .csv file, so you can advertise to people very targeted with the .csv file. Very, very useful. Okay, the shared revenue model. All right, the lean mindset. Okay, so the lean mindset. Trying not to be stuck with large fixed expenses like office space. Try not to be stuck with large software costs. Because as a business that is thinking about global marketing, global clients, like why are you marketing globally? Because we want global clients. We want global revenue, okay? What you do not want is, oh, in Czechoslovakia, there's quite a big demand. Okay, let's fly to Czechoslovakia. Okay, we need office space in Czechoslovakia. We need legal contracts and legal documents and accounting firm in Czechoslovakia. We need all these things in Czechoslovakia.
What is Czechoslovakia?
That's just a country. I have no idea.
It's not exist anymore.
Does it not exist? It just goes to show. When did it stop existing? I have no idea. Yugoslavia, does that exist? No. Jeez, okay, what's a country that still exists? Australia still exists? All right.
That exists.
All right, cool. So really the lean mindset is, we don't need the large buildings. We don't need, how many times somebody will come to you and say, from a software perspective, to run our whole business, we need this CRM, customer relationship management tool. It's very organized. What's it cost? $2,000 a month. Okay. So, rent money, $2,000 a month. Rent money. Well, there's your $2,000 a month. I don't have anywhere to stay now. So as a lean business, and the lean mindset is really, you don't want to spend any money, but on your own rent. Okay, because one day when the business is doing well, you can buy a house. Like I bought a house, quite a nice house, but only because we could survive to get to that point. Okay, now, if you want to operate globally, you cannot be traveling up and down, looking for office space or to have lots of meetings. Okay? My opinion, this is all about marketing. You cannot have the mindset that to operate in the region, you have to have a large local team. Okay? Otherwise, you would need to understand local labor laws. You would need local contracts to hire work colleagues. You would need to conduct local interviews. The accommodation and legal fees alone would be completely unmanageable. So if you're going to be globalizing a business, you want to try to do it digitally. Okay? Because if you don't, the costs are just going to be impossible. Okay, now, we're not going into this particular topic, but there is a concept known as flash teams. Flash teams does also tap into the lean business mindset, and what it basically means is your business that you're marketing, taking to market, your product that you're building, what you don't want is, when you're telling the market about your business or your product, that you say to them, we have a factory, this is where we make it, this is, it's very rigid, we have offices everywhere, we have teams everywhere, because you could get a demand for your product and that demand could disappear. Okay? So the concept of, and then you're now stuck with the office space or the factory or the team that you've built to supply the demand. Okay? So flash teams pretty much says that if your business can be a flash team to the client, it means that the client doesn't have to have their own internal production, their own internal employees, their own internal team. You are a flash team to the client. Okay? Whether you're building products for them, I saw there was a company that was doing outsourced sealing and making of cans. So if you want to have a energy drink brand, you don't have to have a canning factory. You would outsource the canning to that flash business of canners so that you've got a demand for your new energy drink, but you don't have to build your own factory or have your own factory workers. The service provider is a flash team for you. They come in, they do the order in a flash, and they get out in a flash. So if this is the story that you're telling the world about your business, it's a great story to tell. We're a decentralized team. We can scale up and down. We can service you. We're dynamic. We can move. So flash teams is really about positioning your business as a flash team to your clients. And in turn, because that's what we are really as a service provider, but very importantly, in turn, those that work in your business are flash teams to you. They're not full-time employees. In this shared consortium, this shared revenue model that we built, what we needed to try and portray to those that work in the business is that we all share in the ups and downs of the business. We all are participants in the success and the failure of the business. And so we want you to participate when we have a lot of work. But if we don't have work, we've also de-risked ourselves a little bit. Okay, so what that means is that when people know that their work is not guaranteed, but it is dependent on them achieving certain levels of success. For you, if they achieve certain levels of success, you will utilize them with clients who need certain levels of success. Okay? they have a vested interest in your success and in their own success. So as I say, we're not going to go into it too much, but what we created as a business, and we'll go into it actually in a different slide, is we created an incentivization model where everybody in the business is incentivized to work brilliantly, to participate brilliantly as a flash team to you and a flash team to the client. And when they are incentivized to work brilliantly, when the client pays and we split the money, you'll get way more money than if you were a salaried employee who's not incentivized. So if everybody understands that they're part of a flash team, they themselves are a flash team, people that work underneath them are their flash team, then it's a self-governing system and everybody works their best. Now, if you're phoning a newspaper and you're telling them a little bit about your business, and they say, tell us a bit about your business. Well, we've created an incentivization model. Everybody that participates earns their right to be there. They are then invited into larger projects. We all work together. So it's a reward system, a behavioral system where you train people and teach people that the better they work, the better they behave, the more they'll be invited to work more. And those that are lazy, those that don't do good work, those whose work ethic is bad, no one's going to invite them in. So everybody's like this flash team that, wants to prove to the person that's utilizing them that they are worthy of participating. Oh, so you guys are changing the working world. Yeah. Oh, you're changing the working world. Is this the future of work? Yeah. Oh, that's newsworthy. Okay. As I say, we're not getting too much into it, but it's, flash teams is really the future of the corporate world, in my opinion. It could also be the future of the production world, where you don't have to have your own factories. Okay, the fourth industrial revolution. We are in the fourth industrial revolution. The only thing that has enabled us to have global clients, and those global clients being willing to use us, is because we're in the fourth industrial revolution. We know it, they know it. What does it mean? So the fourth industrial revolution is not flying cars and space rockets, and in a way, I guess it is ChatGPT, but but why? Because as much as we enjoy watching TV about how SpaceX has saved those astronauts that were stranded in space, it doesn't help me and you as business people trying to make a living. Okay, so the fourth industrial revolution is not these amazing stories that you hear other people doing, but rather how can we interact with the fourth industrial revolution. Okay, and so it is really the technology that we use, okay, to work, to do a presentation. Easy. Memory stick, my laptop's still in my bag, we're still doing the presentation. I don't have a production company filming the talk, I'm filming myself. The technology is available, it's great quality, so it's the technology that we use and how we interact with colleagues and clients digitally. This was not always the case. Imagine trying to do a video conference in 2015, which was just the other day. Didn't work. That's why people had to fly to different countries. So don't forget, we're in the fourth industrial revolution. You should be waking up every day and going, yippee! Because the truth is, the moat is gone. Anybody can compete. And then also the technology we use, how we interact with colleagues and clients, and how we treat those that we work with.
Just a quick one. Sorry. You don't leave a carbon exhaust in this model. You leave a digital exhaust. Think about it from that point of view. And the digital exhaust is not too bad.
It's a great story.
There.
Oh, wow, you guys are saving the planet while working from home and servicing global clients. Wow, that's newsworthy. Like, wow, these people are saving grandma. That's what you want to be telling people. You're saving grandma. That's your story. Not just servicing clients with actuaries, but that you're saving grandma, because it's newsworthy. Okay? All right. So, whew, this is actually where we're starting to get into it. Okay, now I'm gonna go a bit faster. There's a lot to cover, and I don't know how much time we've got. Okay. So ultimately, when it comes to, now you've built the business, you've brought people into the business, you have to tell the world about your business. You have to tell people on LinkedIn, you have to tell people about your business where it sticks. Your story has to be newsworthy. Okay, so what does this mean? Our story is actuaries and software engineers working together in a shared revenue model, creating products which can service global clients. That's quite a hot topic. That's pretty newsworthy. We're working digitally from home. Oh, it's fascinating. We turned the earnings table upside down, where the majority of the income goes to those that are doing the work. Oh, that's different. So you're saying most of the money goes to the team doing the work, not the big greedy corporate. Yeah. Oh, that's fair. That's news. That's a feel-good story. Okay, I'm buying into this. Because what's happening is you're on the phone now to the editor of Financial Mail, to the editor of Money Web. You're on the phone to industry publications, people that are booking speakers at conferences. That person wants to know, why should they invite you as a speaker? For free. Not a pay-to-play talking engagement. Okay? That's boring. You know, that is, you're not going to get newsworthy, cutting-edge innovation. You want to be newsworthy. You need to be talking about your points that are newsworthy, how you're changing the world. We also introduced a self-governing incentivization rewards system where you can earn by managing and nurturing teams. So what happened was, you had these independent actuaries that were not salaried employees, they worked alone, but they were making money when they worked. Now we said to them, let's work in this consortium where if you manage a team, you will also get paid for every hour that they work. Because we'll invoice the client and the company will share quite a bit of its profit with you, the manager. Oh, so you've introduced a self-governing incentivization scheme for those that work, so that they don't only have to work as a gig economy person, because the gig economy is where I work alone. It's very transactional. Somebody needs work done, I put myself forward, I do the gig, they pay, I leave. Backwards, forwards, right. The mega gig economy is flash teams, everybody working on big projects. Client wants to pay for a few gig economy people. Very organized is the projects. Like we had a big presentation in Australia this morning at 7 o'clock. Okay? I wasn't there, my team was there. They benefit, I benefit, we'll benefit together. It's a mega gig. I'm participating as well, even though I wasn't there. So, you know, this sort of, they can earn money when they themselves are not working is a great story. It's newsworthy. It's a reward system for professionals to work together. Wow, I want to work in a business like that. It's very newsworthy. How do you get that newsworthy story told in magazines, newspapers, podcasts, and online? Because that's marketing. Because when you are at a conference, the competitor who owned the market 20 years ago has a banner ad. People walk in, ABC Consulting. Wow, that company, I want to work at that company. So that's their story. Now all of a sudden you've been on the phone with the conference organizer, you managed to sell it to them that you're newsworthy and changing the world, and they invited you to speak for 20 minutes, and now you're on stage and you're telling people about how your business is completely new age and different. And someone's going, they're looking at the banner ad from the competitor who's giving away pens, but you're telling them how your business is going to change their lives, and all of a sudden, where do you think they want to work? At your company or at the people that had the banner ad? That's marketing. But the only way to be able to tell that story is to create the business model that can back up why it's such a great story to tell. See how it all fits together? It's the talk starting to come together. Okay, good. So how is the business changing society? Often our story is not what we do, but rather what we stand for. Okay? This is the tagline that we all need to answer as a business marketer. We believe our product or service is the future of ... because ... If you can answer that question, you've marketed the business correctly. And now we're just going to zip through a couple of things. I definitely didn't put them all on. Some podcasts, startup awards that we've been involved in, podcasts. I stopped wearing ties a few years ago when I entered a business competition and I didn't win. And the winner wasn't wearing a tie. I stopped wearing ties. Podcasts, magazines, more magazines, SA Innovation Summit speaker, a Science and Technology conference, more podcasts, Financial Mail.
Date?
March 1st to the 7th of March 2018. Financial Mail. Somewhere it says here, he didn't say it, but they are the Uber of actuaries. Editor of the Financial Mail. Great story, you know. More podcasts, overseas magazines.
Where was that?
This was a UK, England, NS
okay.
Insurance story. An actuary working for a consultancy can make up to 10 times their salary for the companies that lease out their expertise. Okay, cool. Another magazine. This is the GQ. GQ.
Lorraine?
What's your GQ look? Better?
Actually, I saw the photos and I was like, is that you?
Yeah, proper.
But it's a great story. Even in there, it's like there's a resonating with that kind of reading.
Yeah, but let's not forget, is when the actuaries in the market got the WhatsApp talking about virtual actuary is disrupting the industry with an innovative remuneration business model. They're like, actuaries in GQ. I want to read this. Okay, cool. I've sent them a WhatsApp. They're going to read it. And you're talking about your talking points. Okay? So, as I say, this is newsworthy marketing. This is proper stuff. Okay? More. Okay. All right. We were newsworthy. But why were we newsworthy? Is it only about how you're saving grandma? Not really. Okay? But rather, if you want to market and overseas, internationally, open your business internationally, you better have a great business. Okay? How do you know if you've got a great business? Because you opened locally and you did well, and now you decided to market globally. My wife said to me last night, she was interested, she was asking me some questions. What's in the talk? I said, being a disruptor, you know, and I've got here, industry disruptor. Am I worthy of global expansion? Why would you be worthy of global expansion? Some people want to, you know, the market locally is not working for them. That's why they go overseas. I said, absolutely not. if you haven't secured and dominated your local market, don't even try and go overseas. Going overseas when you haven't even dominated your local market is what people do who think that the grass is greener on the other side. It's way harder to get clients overseas and market overseas, and so what makes somebody who's worthy of opening a business overseas? Because if you get it wrong, you're going to waste all your money, and you have to be a disruptor. Okay, this is a hot topic. Oh, they just opened a business. Oh, they're going to disrupt the shoemaking industry. They're going to disrupt the hair care products industry. They're going to disrupt. Company hasn't even started, and all of a sudden they're going to disrupt this thing. What are you talking about? Okay, makes for a great newsworthy headline, but if you dig deeper, it's nonsense. So the first thing to understand is, what is disruption? Okay, disruption is fundamentally altering the way that customers interact with your product. Okay, fundamentally altering the way. So it's not just good enough to do something that has a software edge that your competitor can do as well. That's not disrupting. That's just, you come up with an interesting way. It's not fundamentally altering the way customers interact. And secondly, you are not disrupting an industry. You are disrupting your competitors' ability to keep market share. That's actually what a disruptor is all the money went from that spend to here. You disrupted your competitor's ability to make money. That's actually what disruption is. He disrupted the market because nobody else could make money. Now, very quickly, what is the difference between a disruptor and somebody who came up with a great idea? Quick example would be, you're in the laundry folding business and you import 20 laundry folding machines from a different country. You put them out into the market, and now all of a sudden anybody that needs laundry folded is going to your machines. They put their laundry in, it folds for them, and people will report, oh, they disrupted the laundry industry. Well, not really.
No.
Nice idea. But now if I've got a laundry business, I can also go overseas, and I can also buy that product, and I can also bring it here. And if I have enough money, I can also have 20 machines, and you haven't disrupted anything. You've just done some market research for some people. You're not a disruptor, you were just first to market. The disruptor is, I'm the engineer who designed that machine. I have a patent on that machine. You can't use or buy that machine anywhere. Then I build the machine, and then I distribute that machine. Now I'm a disruptor. Because the competitors don't have access to that product without you. Okay. Then, there's two ways of being a disruptor. And as I say again, why is it so important to understand what is a disruptor? It's because if you're going to spend money on advertising and marketing and get a big advertising agency to come up with a great idea, they'll do that for you. But if you want to have newsworthy stories, and you want people to buy into the business, and you want clients to buy into the business, try to be a disruptor, because newsworthy competitors can't keep up with you, and when you market and tell your story, it will stick. People go like, oh, great idea. So we should all aim to be disruptors in a way, okay? Now, you can be a disruptor in two different ways. Number one, as an insider and top-level expert who has become over years the observer who observes with purpose. So you worked in a distribution warehouse, wherever you worked at Amazon, you realized that there was inefficiencies in the way they were packing the boxes. You then went and opened up a robotics company after working there, and you designed your robots this way, and you started reselling these robots into anybody running a factory. You were the observer. You observed what is the process of people putting the boxes up. How long does it take? Why do you do it like this? The observer is not just the insider that works at a company for long, but somebody who observes with purpose, dissecting what is going on in this industry. Okay, you're an insider. Okay. But you observe so that you're going to one day come up with something that's going to disrupt the market because you've done the insight, the market research, you've observed with purpose, or as a total outsider with lessons learned from somewhere else and adapted into a particular industry. Can also be a disruptor. Okay? Don't want to always give Elon Musk as an example, but he had no idea how to build spacecrafts, and he took learnings from somewhere else, and he was a total outsider. Okay. Then, kite surfing disrupted windsurfing. I'll talk very, very briefly about that. I'm a kite surfer. I bought a house next to a kite surfing beach. And why did kite surfing disrupt windsurfing? It's because they didn't make the windsurfing boards bigger with a bigger mast and a bigger sail, but they changed the way that people interact with the environment. It's a smaller board, it's 4 lines, 20 meters up, it's a kite. And so it disrupted the sort of playing in the water with the wind industry. People started kite surfing instead of windsurfing. And that is a brilliant example of disruption. Kite surfing disrupted windsurfing. Okay, and more people took up kite surfing. The girls could do it. You know, you don't have this huge board to carry. You want to go traveling with friends on holiday. You can pack all the gear onto the roof of the car. Way smaller. Everyone's got a kite. Imagine like all the windsurfing boards on the top of a car. It's impossible. Okay. However, like in any business, the windsurfers don't think that they're being disrupted. Okay, like your competitors. They don't think that you're disrupting them. Why? Because they have something that is known as the sunken cost fallacy. They've sunk a lot of effort into what they're doing. They don't want to admit to themselves that what they're doing is useless and what you're doing is better. They will convince themselves because they've sunken so much cost into what they're doing and so much effort that what they're doing is never to be beaten and unbelievable. That's different. They haven't been disrupted. That's actually how your competitors think when someone comes up with a new way of doing something. They don't believe that they're being disrupted because they, of course, been so big for so long, which is great. So not everybody that's being disrupted believes that they're being disrupted because they have a sunken cost fallacy. Okay. And we believe our newsworthy story fits into the category of disruptor. Oh, sorry, I'm talking about virtual actuary. So the reason we think we're disruptors is not because we claim to be disruptors, but because people have been telling us non-stop since we started, you've disrupted the actuary consulting world. Digital actuaries, you know what, if you're an insurer in Hong Kong, what do you need? A big consulting firm across the road in the high street in Hong Kong, where you can use virtual actuary, digital actuaries. Instantly you've disrupted the market because of the way that you operate and so on. So we fitted into the category of disruptors, not because we said so, but because other people said so, and we agreed. Okay. Now, hold on, one more thing. So what's this guy doing here? He's not a windsurfer, and he's not a kite surfer. What is the Lone Ranger doing here? Okay. So the question is, besides for a great business model and a newsworthy and marketable model, what is the mindset of a disruptor who's going to start the business at the beginning, be the observer? It is actually the Lone Ranger. Okay, before both of our times, I was very, very small. I think the line went dun 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 dun. I think that's the Lone Ranger. I don't think it's the Three Amigos. So the Lone Ranger believed the village people are screaming for help. They need to be saved. I'm going to get on my horse and I'm going to go there and I'm going to save the people. The people are going to be saved, and then I'm going to ride away. I see a problem, I'm going to fix it myself, and I'm going to ride away. another problem, and I'm going to fix it, and I'm going to ride away. The mindset of the Lone Ranger is not that. Is there any market research on that? You think we should do it this fiscal or next fiscal? What does the product department have to say? Okay. Does Jackie buy into it? Okay. Cool. What does Tom say? Okay, cool. Let's have a meeting about it. Let's discuss it. I'm away this week and I'm on leave next week. How about 18 November? Is that cool? Yeah, cool. Let's get together. Yeah, we'll discuss it. Sorry guys, I'm not feeling well today. So the Lone Ranger does not wait for their colleagues and for permission and a consensus, or have to open a business where we're equity partners, we share the risk. No, I'm a Lone Ranger. I don't have any money. We're going to start this business. You want to start the business? I'll give you commission and we'll go get clients and we'll split the money. Okay, I'm going to go speak to the next person. You're in or you're out. The Lone Ranger makes it happen. There's clients that want to be serviced. I can't pay you. This is how it's going to work. The Lone Ranger makes it happen. That's the mindset of a disruptor. And when you're telling your story in the market, people kind of buy into that stuff. Yeah, just, they saw the problem and they didn't wait and they made it happen. Okay. Now, when I was trying to work out what is the mindset of the disruptor, there was another concept which I didn't write in my book, which I did write a book. We're going to talk about the book, a book. If you really want to be a brilliant marketer, okay, then torture yourself by writing a book, okay, about your industry and why your industry is changing the world. Because that's not some big fancy marketing campaign. That's real deep in the trenches. And when a potential client or a potential investor or a potential bank or somebody reads your book and they buy into the whole concept, okay, that's proper marketing. We've had people resign to join our business because they read the book. They didn't see some ad somewhere. They weren't in a sales funnel. So real marketing is sacrificing 4 years of your life in the evenings to tell your newsworthy story in a way that looks like you're selling without selling. Sorry, it looks like you're not selling. You're telling your story by selling without looking like you're selling. It's just a book about how startups can beat large corporations. Light reading. Okay, so the concept that I put in the book was the Lone Ranger. The concept that I wanted to put in the book was the boogeyman. Why is it disrupted the boogeyman? It's because you must be the boogeyman to your competitors. Because your competitor who's watching you and watching what you're doing, and now you come up with this amazing innovation and you take it to market and you just got a book to speak at an event, and you know FinWeek and GQ has you in their newspaper. They are frightened every time they see your name. It's like the boogeyman's showing up on their timeline. Okay, that's what you want. You want your competitor to walk into the room and somebody's grabbing at their ankles from underneath the bed. You want to be your competitor's boogeyman. That's what you want to be. You want to be a disruptor. Why? Because the boogeyman is not scared of anybody in the room. Okay? They are the boogeyman. They're not waiting for somebody else to tell them what to do. They do whatever they want. There's a product that needs to be innovated, they do it. And I promise you now, it doesn't matter how big the competitor is. If you go to a getaway on in the forest in a cabin, and you tell your competitor who you invited with, can you go get a blanket in the cupboard upstairs? And they go upstairs and the light switch doesn't work. They're not going in that room to fetch the blanket in the cupboard because the boogeyman might be in that cupboard. Okay, everyone's scared of the boogeyman. So you need to be, no matter how brave you are, you need to be your competitor's boogeyman. That's the mindset of a disruptor who's disrupting an industry, not waiting for permission. And subsequently, I didn't put the boogeyman into the book because I was told that it was going to give a bad impression from a branding and marketing perspective of the business. Oh, virtual actuary is the boogeyman. Oh, it's terrible. You know, do business with them. So we didn't go with that concept. Okay? You always have to come across as fluffy, upbeat, you know, friendly, professional. Okay. Cool. So now we're going to zip through this, but basically, when it comes to marketing and being a global service provider, how did we get all those little dots on that first map? Okay? How did we market the business globally? LinkedIn, Instagram. Okay? It's free. There it is. Connections, top entrepreneur voice. Okay?
Explain that quickly to them.
Yeah. What? So
The
this.
top entrepreneurship voice. Yeah.
Yeah. So congratulations, your post is in the top 1% engagement on LinkedIn, which meant that any post that I was putting out, any newspaper articles, anything that a conference that I spoke at, people were engaging. I was connecting with industry professionals that were engaging. I received a badge for your post is in the top 1% engagement. Okay? There was also for articles that you comment on, you also get a top entrepreneurship voice, which makes you part of the top voices. Also, and trusted by over 100 clients. That's nonsense. You know, we came up with that badge. It wasn't an official LinkedIn badge. But sounds
Remember
nice.
the 5 stars from Qatar Airlines? They're still marketing.
It's marketing. You know, you're a client. You read this article about digital actuaries. I'm in Hong Kong. Go to the CEO's CEO's page on LinkedIn. He's got 18,000 connections. He's top voices. Trusted by over 100 clients. Okay, cool. Hi. We were connected 2 years ago. We need actuarial services, software services. Any chance you can chat with us about your business? Come talk to us, like digitally and stuff? Sure, sure. That's not an international marketing campaign. That's just newsworthy stories and on LinkedIn. Okay. Now, that's how you get the global clients for free, but it takes a lot of effort. Face-to-face conferences will always be better and more fun. Always. But expensive. LinkedIn is like the meeting hall at a conference. Now, what do you need on LinkedIn? An appealing, welcoming photo. The CEO needs to have a show and tell portfolio. Now, if you actually go to the rest of my LinkedIn, there's videos there, achievements and milestones, business award finalists, newspaper appearances, different speaking arrangements, like a show and tell. MoneyWeb, Fast Company, Hartford InsurTech, where I spoke overseas. You know, I have actually been, flew to America, you know, to speak at an actuary conference. There's the video. This is like a show and tell, okay? A lot of effort to do these things. But if you're a potential client or a potential customer, and you see this, the only thing that it's going to give you is enough credibility for them to go, let's invite them in. Let's talk to them before we buy their product. Okay, now, it's an ideal place to showcase what the company does and is involved in without looking like you're trying to sell something. This is new age marketing. Okay? Connect with future work colleagues, clients, and investors. Nurture those relationships over time organically. As I said, this is not about we're paying this advertising company to market our product. Oh, they got a TikTok campaign. We only pay them $4,000 a post. Results are unbelievable. I don't have $4,000. What I do have is people that I connect with constantly in my industry. I can message them. I haven't messaged them in 2 years. They send me a happy birthday request. They send me a happy birthday. Thanks, Tom. May I ask for a birthday request? Since it is my birthday and you did wish me happy birthday. Any chance I could appear on your podcast? Any chance we can talk to you about maybe doing actuary services for you? Just a chat. It is my birthday after all. You did wish me happy birthday. Yeah, sure, we can chat about that. Yeah, I'll get my secretary to set something up. Cool. That is marketing. That's interacting. That is organic effort. So, I don't know whether you want to hear about sales funnels and how to spend money. I don't know about that stuff. What I do know about is when the CEO of a big insurer or a bank messages you happy birthday on LinkedIn, where you've got a great story and he's kind of seen it, you take the chance and you do a bit of marketing. Hey, any chance we could talk to you? It's not an email that came in from God knows where. Okay, that's why I actually don't even put auto replies on my emails anymore, because when the spammers email you, it sends them an auto reply. Oh, this email is active. Let's send them 5,000 emails in one day. That's why people don't look at those emails anymore. Okay, now, sales funnels is the wrong strategy and it's expensive. Create content. So how do you nurture online marketing? This is really the question. You have to create content. Okay? You have to comment on posts. You have to showcase the PR, the public. What's it? PR is public, what does the R stand for?
Public relations.
Public relations.
And publicity.
Newsworthy stuff for free.
Exactly.
Okay? And here's the book. Slaying Giants in the Mega Gig Economy. How small beats big in today's business world. How a small startup can beat the large corporation, which we have. We've beaten the largest. We're actually now the largest actuary consulting firm on the continent. Okay, South Africa, Africa, with clients all over the world. We're way bigger than the other consulting firms. We beat the giants. How did you do that? Are you telling your story? Are you creating content? Like, this is taking content way to the next level, but this is proper marketing. This is unfortunately the effort that it takes. Just for that off chance, we're an investor in Pakistan, sees the story, they want to invest in a global company that has distribution channels inside insurers and banks all over the world. They want to upsell their own products. They're a multi-billion-dollar business, and the guy stumbles across your book. Before they invest the money, he thinks, let me just read the book. He reads the book. He phones you up and says, oh, we want to chat. We want to put some money on the table. Okay? That's not because they saw an advert of somebody driving down a road, getting out of the car, and you're trying to buy a car or something.
Just because we've got a bit of a time lag to just after 12, do you want to also just talk a little bit off the global partnerships about metrics, like what you've achieved? You don't have to give those figures, but you can give growth, just in terms of it. So, year one from a cold start, 2018 was like 11 million rand revenue. Okay, now we're not going to look at it in dollars, because if we were charging in dollars and pounds, it would be 3-4 times as much, because they actually charge a lot more overseas. We're looking at how much work we're doing. So to date, in 6 years, we've done about 350 million rand in revenue, which is not bad, okay, from a cold start. We have about 75, 80 projects on the go globally. And that's teams of actuaries. We've got about 65 actuaries and software engineers in the business. The efficiency is probably 3 times that, which means that if we weren't using our own software, we would probably need 3 times the amount of people working. We got clients in the Middle East, Asia, Australia, in New Zealand, Switzerland, South America, the Netherlands, and our software is about 35–40% of our work is offshore clients. About probably 70% of the clients, could be more, we have inserted our software into their businesses. So we're a SaaS business, which is a software as a service business, which is where you want to be. And we're still self-funded. So it's not bad metrics, you know. And yeah, we've achieved all of that by having great newsworthy stories to tell. And now when it also comes to how do you actually go into a different market? So, you know, you have to have like global partnerships. You know, right at the beginning, you know, it was like, okay, how do we get a client overseas? Do we have to have an office there? Do we have to have a bank account there? And it was a tricky way up, okay? I did fly to America in 2019, and when I was there, I'd met somebody on the InsurTech top 10 list, and we connected, and I flew to Texas to speak at a conference at Hartford about the digitization of actuaries, and I stayed with Joseph a little bit, and then I went backwards and forwards, Texas, Hartford, New York, and then we decided to open up the US business. But it was cheap. He knew the system, he downloaded all the paperwork, he had done it before. We went to a commission of oaths, we stamped the documents, we submitted the documents. 2.5 weeks later, the registration came through, we went to the bank, we opened a bank account, it was seamless. Came back to South Africa, I was like, I walk on water these days, you know? Opening businesses, no problem. Overseas, yeah, for sure. Seamless. Until we try to open up a business in Cyprus or Dubai. Totally different experience, okay? So, do we open an office there? Do we share the same vision for how we deal with the clients and quality of work? So when you're looking for a global partner, you're marketing globally, let's not forget with all the stories that we've been telling and the disruptor and digital actuaries, you get partnership requests. So you've marketed now to other companies that want to partner with you to service their clients. We get quite a lot of those. You have to choose the partners quite carefully. Do we share the same vision for how we deal with the clients? You know, some partners have come in, they've said to us, oh yeah, I've got lots of contacts, I can just give you the names and you'll just sign with them and we'll just get a commission forever. That conversation didn't have a second conversation, okay? It's not the kind of partners that you want, because when you're marketing globally and trying to do business with clients globally, you have to have the right partners globally. What I did learn is that you don't need to open up an office in those countries if you're working through a partner, especially if there's a language barrier, like in the Middle East, where the contracts with the clients are in Arabic, and it makes it a lot easier for us just to contract with the partner. They contract with the clients. We do the work together. We invoice them. They invoice the clients pay them. They pay us. Okay. Some partners want to scale too quickly and think that passing on names is the secret to success. There's language barriers in meetings, contract and regulatory sign-off, or local market insight and getting paid on time. So, you know, if we're looking to open a business overseas, what you don't want to do really is it's sort of like Uber and some of these companies did, where they went into different territories and they just burnt money, you know, and I don't even think they're profitable. You know, because they've got all these huge expenses because they have their own presence in all these different countries. And so when you're looking to market a business globally, can you do it digitally? Okay, it's very important. Can the partner be trusted to go on a journey with us? Okay, what is driving their decisions? Do they have the slow, steady growth approach, or do they have an investor looking for an exit? So when we're choosing a global partner to work with, you know, we've done all the hard work, we've done the marketing. People want to engage with us globally now, okay? when we say to them, tell us a little bit about your client list, what has prevented you from becoming very big? You know, what happens if something happens? Like, how often do you lose staff? You know, do you have a big investor that just wants you to try and take prices up? So when choosing a partner and servicing, now the clients come in from overseas. Do you have a partner in the region we can work through? Yes, we actually do. Okay, so all this hard work and all this talk about being a disruptor and all this talk about can we service those clients overseas? You know, we have like a 1% staff turnover rate a year, and our competitors are like 35%. So that means that 35% of the people that work in their businesses are changing constantly every year. Ours like 1%. Like maybe once a year somebody will leave, not even. Okay? So what that means is that if you've told your story correctly and you've brought people in where everybody is incentivized as a commission earner, and you do all of that correctly, then when you do market and clients come in and partners come in, and you do get that work and it does pick up, have you structured the business in such a way that you're going to hold on to the work? Is everybody that's in the business incentivized correctly? Do they believe in the vision that you've sold them when you marketed the vision of the company to them? Guys, it's very important that when we put in that hard work and the client does come in, that if we have a problem, we roll up our sleeves and we fix it so that that client stays with us forever. Do you buy into that? So the whole way along, branding and marketing of any business goes right to the core of the business idea, goes to the core of how you treat the people that you work with and interact with. Everything that has enabled us to tell our story and get clients overseas is the fact that we're in the fourth industrial revolution. Technology has enabled it. It allows us to compete. COVID helped a lot because those clients that were overseas changed their businesses to allow for digital working. So we had already been telling the story since 2008. When COVID kicked in 2020 with the LinkedIn profile that I had all these overseas clients that had been getting all these newsworthy stories. I said, well, we've set up our business for digital interaction. Why should we be paying a large consulting firm over here these charges, these fees? Let's use you. Let's invite him into the meeting. He did a request on Facebook, happy birthday, on the LinkedIn, happy birthday, can we chat with you? Well, we've digitized. So we started interacting digitally because the fourth industrial revolution created what they call VDIs, virtual desktop interface that allowed us to contract with the clients globally, digitally, as a new business. So that's pretty much who we are and how we told our story globally. We tried to open a business in Cyprus. The partner that we used for the paperwork and everything, they had a thing where you have to have a local director and they have to sign off on every bank payment and it was a mess. So the experience was that when we opened a business overseas, the thing was a mess and it cost me a fortune to close the business down. We wanted to open a business in Dubai, we looked into it, just a fortune for the accounting, and we decided we've already got partners in the region. So, you have to really decide and make smart decisions about can you interact digitally as a lean business. And if you get that story right and you market the business correctly, where other people are not telling you what your story is, but you called into nice meetings because you send a LinkedIn birthday request and the CEO calls you in and says, well, why is your business better? I say, because we've incentivized the staff. They only get paid when you pay us. So if you tell us to do a job and you're not happy, you're not going to pay my invoice. They don't get paid. He says, well, none of the other consulting firms in my region have that model. That's why they keep on failing and we keep on having to pay them. They get paid whether they succeed or not. These guys, their whole incentivization business, I can see why it's so disruptive, because the staff don't get paid if they don't achieve success. We want to work with them. So the whole thing fits together in a branding perspective when you're looking to take market share from your competitors, if you've told the story correctly. And that's pretty much marketing, is it has to go to the core of what you do, and you have to live by it, and you have to keep on reminding the people in the business the vision, so that you can be a global digital company without really spending too much on marketing.
Fantastic. Very insightful. Adi, outstanding. And a small gift from the class.
Yes.
And fantastic. And thank you for your time. I'm sorry we run over, but this is
Thank you very
this is
much.
something.
Thank you.
This is what I wanted to show you. This is something. Zintle, we need to have a photograph. This man needs to be rewarded in the form of a photograph with this group. Do you want to stand? Do you want to stand here with them,
This
or
is a good spot.
with that in the background?
Great spot.
And do you want to put up your initial slide?
Oh, that was a good one.
Lovely slide. So you've got that in the background. Okay. So you've got that. Okay.
Okay, you guys want to come this side, or are we going to do it like that?
We can do it here. You just stand up, move a little bit together. I'm going to go into the photo too.
Thank you.
Zinta, thank you so much. And then we are going to reconvene at
Yeah.
1:15. 1:15. You're the main man. I'm coming in the team with Max. He's my man, yeah? Alright? All good? Fantastic. Yeah, smile. 1, 2, 3.
Brilliant.
Have you got a couple?
I hope so.
Well, we're going to check now.
No, we do.
Oh,
Good, good,
Thanks,
good.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.